When you play the Game of Thrones,
Subscribe and like.
you die. There is no middle ground.
Welcome back to the Grease Goblins YouTube channel. Today's video, we're going to be talking about who is the main protagonist of A Song of Ice and Fire. This is a video that's not going to be controversial whatsoever, and let's talk about it. So before I say who I think the main protagonist is, just hear me out. This is not going to be a common take. This is just mine. I'm going to give you my reasons, but just hear me out. A lot of people in the community would probably say Jon Snow or Daenerys. They're obviously two of the main characters. They were introduced very early on in a Game of Thrones. We spend a lot of time with both of the characters. Jon Snow has gone on this arc where he's made some good decisions, some bad decisions. He's done some questionable things, like, for instance, taking away Gilly's child, but we know why he did it, because he didn't want an innocent child to be burned. And then he sends Maester Aemon away because he also didn't want Maester Aemon to be burned. But here's the thing, in terms of Maester Aemon, he more or less sped up Maester Aemon probably dying. There's a lot of things that's like, okay, with Jon and Daenerys, they have some great things that they do. Daenerys freeing slaves, all this other stuff. And then you have some things where she goes a little too far, killing a bunch of masters that maybe they shouldn't have been killed as brutally as they were, but you can understand why she does it. And then also, you can understand the way she kills Viserys, but also kind of a brutal way to kill your brother. I know Drogo does it, not her necessarily, but it's still pretty crazy. And I know Viserys, he made up his own actions and all that stuff. He is the reason that he died. Let's keep that 100%. But you get what I'm saying. Like, Daenerys and Jon have both made questionable decisions at times, but they are main characters. They have huge followings. Neither one of them is who I think is the main protagonist of the story. In my opinion, the main protagonist is kind of like who's our main, good guy, our main hero, who is the person that by the end of the story we look at and go, this was the main protagonist, one of those ideas. I think in general, A Song of Ice and Fire does not have one. But if I was going to pick one, I think it's the same idea with like prophecy. I think that multiple people will fulfill, for instance, the Azor Ahai prophecy. I don't think it's just one person. And you think about with George's story, it's very different than other stories, because if you think about, for instance, if we were going to say who is the main protagonist of Harry Potter, it's obviously Harry Potter. It's not the same with The Song of Ice and Fire, because you have so many different branching plot lines, all this huge, massive world. So A Song of Ice and Fire is different. And I think the person that I would say is the main protagonist, the main hero of the story, is Brienne. I know that's probably a huge hot take, but I just think about it this way. Brienne is the character that, in a world of darkness, of corruption, of morally some horrible stuff happening in the series, Brienne is like this shining light that no matter where she goes, she can try and bring, hope and goodness into the world, because she is going against everything that we have in terms of the way, think about the Hound thinks about knights. And Brienne isn't a knight, but she, I think, will be by the end of the series, but she fulfills everything that a knight should be. She is all about defending, people that can't defend themselves, women and children. She's about keeping oaths and loyalties, all of that kind of stuff. And no matter where she goes, who she's with, she's able to improve everyone around her. Brienne is a character that enters the story in A Clash of Kings with the Renly plotline, and she's this character that instantly is going on this great journey of all the things that she's been through. She has every right to be a horrible person based upon the way people have treated her, because she is this woman that is not, attractive traditionally in this world. She's trying to be a fighter. She looks very different. She's wearing armor, all this kind of stuff. She has every reason to be a horrible person, but she isn't. She's somebody that's still kind. And yes, she's a lot younger in the book compared to the show. She's like a beacon of hope. It's like that to me is the way I look at Brienne. Like, if you were going to look at A Song of Ice and Fire, she is almost like the opposite of someone like Tyrion, for instance. Tyrion right now is like, he hates everything. He hates life. He's a pessimistic person. Brienne is the opposite side of that. And it becomes very clear even when you see chapters where, for instance, the bathhouse chapter with Brienne, where you have her at a dinner with Roose Bolton, and she sees the best in people, and she's not able to see through Roose Bolton being pretty much openly talking about betraying Robb Stark and all of that stuff. I think Brienne, by the end of the story, will view her more as a hero for the story. Think about Jaime's whole character arc. If it wasn't for Brienne, we never would have seen Jaime in the light that we do now. And a lot of that's because of Brienne. Brienne's the person that's able to get Jaime to keep going, to keep living, to get his revenge, or to just some way to motivate him to keep going. And so I look at Brienne and I go, this is the character we should look at as the main hero, the main protagonist, all of that stuff. Because she really, in a lot of ways, is. Is she the main character of A Song of Ice and Fire? No, I wouldn't say that at all. But I would say, in terms of if you're asking me a main protagonist, a main hero, or, good guy for the entire series, I would look at Brienne. And I think people are going to argue this and go, well, a protagonist doesn't necessarily mean they're the best good person. But I think for me, it does have a lot in the way that I look at that question, because so many characters in A Song of Ice and Fire are very complex. They have good qualities about them and bad qualities about them. And Brienne, I think, will be somebody that leads into the new hopeful version of Westeros post A Song of Ice and Fire, into that new generation. I think Brienne will be somebody that lives throughout the rest of the story. I don't think she's going to die. I even think about the Brotherhood Without Banners. Think about the position Brienne has been thrust into. She's in a group now that's lost its way, and the Brotherhood Without Banners were not without faults beforehand. I want to point that out. But after Beric leaves and Lady Stoneheart takes over, they lose even more of their sense of what they were trying to do before. They were a brotherhood that was trying to protect the weak, the innocent, all that kind of stuff, even though they did morally corrupt stuff like robbing people and being kind of like outlaws. Now they're completely motivated by revenge, anger, and things like that. Brienne, I think, will start to change that with the help of Arya. I think both of those characters will play a pivotal role in changing the fate of the Brotherhood, especially post Lady Stoneheart. I think both of them will play a huge role in that. And that's why I think that Brienne is such an important character to this discussion, because she is bringing the change that Westeros needs to have. The way that they value knights and the way knights act should be based upon someone like Brienne, who's not even an anointed knight. So that is my answer to this question that I got on my Discord. I found this to be a very interesting discussion because I had a more nuanced take than I think a lot of people do. A lot of people would have came on here and just said, oh, it's Daenerys. Oh, it's Jon. And, rightly so. Both of those characters are main characters in the series. And also they are great characters overall. But I don't know. I don't think I agree. But let me know what you guys think. Who would you say is your main protagonist or main hero of A Song of Ice and Fire? And I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye, guys.